Hey cycling friends, James with Team Finish Strong, and I'm here in my Zwift pain cave to show you guys how you can build your own do-it-yourself Zwift power-up trigger. Okay, now before I begin, I should say that you can get all of these parts off of Amazon if you want, and I'll put a link in the description. And I would say that this do-it-yourself kit I'm going to be showing you today would be kind of an economy version, and you can go as deluxe as you want on this. So let's take a look. The first thing is the trigger. Now this is the one that you may have the most personal preference on choosing, so be forewarned. You can go very cheap and simple like I've got. This is I think a horn button off of a moped, but it's waterproof and I think it'll fit on my handlebars and I think it'll work just right. For you, you may want to choose something different. In fact, you could probably even modify a Di2 sprint shifter if you want for this purpose. All you really need to have is something that has two contacts. It just basically has to be a dry contact switch, okay, momentary switch. You can get ones that have multiple contacts and multiple buttons. So if you want to have, let's say, more than one function on your remote, then get something with multiple buttons and that'll give you a lot of different features. I'll go into that in the next step. The next thing you have is the controller board. So the controller board assembly consists of a few parts here. You've got the keyboard emulator, which has the key mappings for every key on a US keyboard here. And then it's going to be connected via a little parallel cable to the USB port. And of course it's going to come with a cable and the parallel cord. It also comes with a whole bunch of these contacts. And you just plug them into the appropriate key that you want. And then when these two contacts are touched together, it goes ahead and completes the circuit, and that's what key you end up pressing, so to speak, on the keyboard. So it's real simple in terms of its operation, which is why you just need a dry contact switch to work with this. You're going to need some adhesive pads to attach it to the surface of what you're going to be mounting it in. And in this case, I've chosen a nice size black waterproof box to keep everything nice and tidy. And we'll show you how to put this all together. Okay, first thing we're going to do is mount the little USB port in the box. So I'm thinking probably the easiest way for me to do this is to go ahead and pre-drill a hole, and then we're going to go ahead and see if we can square it out and just have it mount flush like this through the side. Okay. So we've got the hole drilled. Now we're just going to have to see how much more we're going to have to cut out in order to get a complete hole. So I think what we'll have to do is probably score the box. Use a hobby knife or box cutter to square it off. Okay, let's check for fit. There we go. Good enough. Next, you want to mount the boards using double-sided tape or foam backers. And now we're going to mount the board in the box using these foam backers. I've put two backers together, back to back, and we're going to go ahead and mount them. I'm going to trim off the excess. Okay, now it's ready. We'll mount this in the box by removing the last foam backer piece and aligning it. There it is. Next, we're going to be mounting the keyboard emulation board. Now I suggest you take a snapshot of the back before you do it so that you know what your key codes are. In this particular instance, I purchased a board that had every key on the US keyboard. And you can purchase ones that have a limited number of keys. For example, some that just have numerics. Or you can purchase the complete one like mine. This is a little bit more expensive, but it has more options available to you. So I have the space bar, which is your power up. And if I wanted to, let's say, utilize some other buttons, if I had a multi-function remote, I could utilize some other buttons, maybe like to see different views, or to do other functions. Maybe do a pause so that you could do a bike swap out, things like that. In this box, there's really only one place that I have room to mount it, and that is going to be on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. First, I'm going to check to make sure my cable length is adequate. Okay, so this is how I'm going to mount it in the box. So it looks like it's going to fit. Now I just have to put the foam backers on. For better adhesion, you can prepare the surface of the box with some rubbing alcohol, and that'll make sure that it sticks better. In my particular instance, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and put it in. There you go. Now the next step would be to use your cords. In the kit I received, I had a whole bunch of cords that you can use with various types of ends. Some with smaller terminals, some with larger ones. So you can find the right kit that works for you. In my case, the only function I'm going to need, because I have one button, is the power up. So I made sure that I mounted the pigtail in the appropriate space for the space bar. With that, we're ready to go ahead and make the connection to your remote. So you can see here I have a very short remote cable. So the box is going to have to be pretty close to where I want to mount this. I'm going to go ahead and drill another hole in the box for the cable to go through. And then we'll make the connection on the inside. If you really want to do this nice and clean, you can go ahead and mount a strain relief on the outside to provide some protection for your cable in case it gets snagged. Okay, I've got my hole. Route your trigger into the box and then make your final connections. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now it's at this point that you can probably go ahead and test this thing out. So let's go ahead and hook it up. And connect the cable up to your USB port or extension on the computer.
All right, now it's time to give it a try. Here we are at Zwift. You got to power up. And let's say you want to use it on this climb, but you want to keep your hands on the handlebars. All you got to do is make sure your Zwift application is the highlighted window, and then you just press the button at the appropriate time. All right, here we go. Well, there you go. It's that easy. So hope this helped you guys get your KOMs or perhaps win that sprint finish. This is James with Team Finish Strong. Have a great one, guys. God bless, and finish strong.